Enough. Enough. Is this still on? Fuck this song.
How dare you?
Fuck this song and fuck America.
How dare you? How dare you? First of all, how dare you guys have these shitty-ass headphones?
What's wrong with the headphones?
They sound like shit. They're flimsy.
Oh, Rogan only has top-quality headphones at the Joe Rogan Experience podcast studios.
He's criticizing us for taking breaks. He doesn't like our headphones.
The Golden Pony has arrived,
In
ladies and
studio
gentlemen.
is the other Tony.
Hello?
The one we
Tony,
weren't expecting.
motherfucking Hinchcliffe. We were
guys hear me?
expecting him.
These
We were just
headphones
expecting
don't
him to wake up.
Oh, yeah, he has to turn on the volume.
In time. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Tony,
back.
what's the word downstairs with security gate?
You were hanging out with Anthony Cumia.
Yeah, I just got to meet Anthony in the lobby, which is pretty crazy because...
When you picture this, you'd be like, I'll meet him in studio one day.
It was really weird because I checked in the lobby and he's standing right next to the desk. I said hi to him, I introduced myself, and then I checked in with the lady and I go, "Hi, I'm Tony Hinchcliffe. I'm here for the Opie and she goes, "Anthony show?" And he just starts laughing. Like, I didn't know what to say. He's right next to me, so I didn't know whether to call it its new name or like its foundation. But
You can't even call it the Opie show. He's not here.
Right.
Well, it was an awkward situation. But I was
Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm going to go where you used to work right now.
What was his
you
mood
can't
like?
even get in the building.
He seemed pretty funny about it. He seemed really excited. You know, he was saying I'm getting a lot of tweets, a lot of texts right now. You know, everybody got a little bit of, there was a lot of buzz going on in that lobby.
Well, we need to get him to call in. We figured that's the best way to circumvent this. Like we
should have just been up. What's the problem? What's he going to break into the serious Twitter account and start
Maybe
sending out rogue tweets?
He's going to wiki hack it.
Adrian, why don't you go downstairs and see if he wants to call? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Is
actually
he still down there?
No, I actually think they sent him away. I'll save you a trip.
Sent him away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't kick him out or anything, but they just said that they have to pass it by some guy who sounded like a boss. Like his last name is like Bob.
Jew name.
Bob Steen, yeah.
Jew name.
Gold
I know who it
Jew
is.
name?
I know who it is.
Steen
What's his
Gold.
name?
I
Sam?
don't know.
Something Silverstein or something?
No clue.
Yeah.
Silverman?
Bergwitz.
I'd easily all of a sudden
David
remember.
Bergwitz.
Yeah.
I know his real name. It's not it, but
I totally forgot the name because I want to work on this station more often. So
I feel bad for that guy. He's the one who has to fucking tell Howard Stern. I was like, listen, man, you're not worth as much as you were. He's got to have that conversation with him. He's in an unenviable position. Tell an egomaniac that you're not as popular as you once were.
I don't know. Your career has finally taken off since Howard brought you up, right?
Since Howard brought me up. Yeah, that's
Like,
what I
finally,
needed.
you're famous,
That's
you know?
the push.
You don't feel like that helped you? I feel like it helped you.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, let's look at the stats. The week he, I look at my Libsyn stats, my podcast numbers.
The wiki shit on you.
Lowest in 10 weeks. I'm making him famous by... well, that's just not how it works, man.
Do you know what's interesting?
What?
The day he shit on you, my numbers were very high.
Because he was commenting on the podcast we did together.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Didn't give a good bump to your podcast.
No, not at all.
They all said, "Oh, Ari's on Joe's podcast this
Let's go
week.
listen to it."
Fuck Ari's podcast."
I should have, during that rant, I should have been saying, this fucking Howard Stern, by the way, listen to Skeptic Tank, it's every Monday. I can't believe he's fucking past it. This is Skeptic Tank. That's Skeptic Tank on iTunes.
Do you understand the iTunes rankings? Do you understand how that works?
Yeah. They take everything, put it in a hat, shake it up, and then throw it out. And then they skew towards alt, and they have a number.
They skew towards alt. They do skew towards alt. I don't know how it works. I tried to get someone to explain it to me. There's a weird algorithm. It's not like when you see number 1, number 2, number 3. It's not like number 1 has, X amount of downloads. Number 3 has 500 less. It doesn't work that way at all.
Because it's like... It's new subscribers count for more than anything.
It's
reviews,
if you get a lot of ratings
yeah.
this week, and it's percentage of ratings to your overall downloads. So at some point, Chelsea Peretti had the #1 podcast in the country.
Percentage of comments to the overall downloads, not even numbers of comments.
She had the #1 podcast for over a week, and she had released 0 episodes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about people who launch podcasts is that first
early
week,
spike, and they go, "Yeah, fuck you, old network.
Thanks,
we made
I'm number
it."
one.
Yeah.
I'm number
top
one.
25 on iTunes.
We got 2,000 downloads this week.
Red Band had to deal with that every time. Every time somebody left him, be like, "Fuck you, Red Band. I'm number 5. Fuck you." And then it's like, "Oh shit, I'm number 75. I'm 183. Oh damn it.
It's
Why did I say
interesting
fuck
that it's
you?"
comments in relationships to downloads, like how many comments you have. Like if you have 100 downloads but 100 comments, it's probably better than having like 100,000 downloads and
50 comments.
500 comments
Yeah.
or 1,000 comments. Like,
Yeah.
it's not good enough. Like,
Rankings.
The ratio would be totally off.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because that would be one of them would be number 1, and it wouldn't get nearly as many downloads as number 2.
Right.
Like, it's really ridiculous the way they have it set up.
Rankings in general, it's like, why are you comparing yourself to what others are doing instead of just saying what I'm doing? So it's like, if my numbers go up, it doesn't matter who else's
interesting.
numbers go up more.
It's interesting, like when
Sort
you
of.
find out how many people watch American Idol or something like that.
Yeah, but numbers.
Right.
But then if American Idol's numbers went up from 2 million a week to 3 million a week, but they dropped from number 1 to number 2 because some Lost comes in, like a new show comes in and has 6 million a week, it's like, but American Idol's doing better. You're doing 50% better.
Right.
Even though you dropped.
But they lost.
Ranking is only comparing yourself to others and not just saying what I'm doing.
But the rankings on iTunes, it puts you, if you're in the top 10, all of a sudden you're on the front page
Top 10
of iTunes,
Sure,
and then
top
people
10.
are seeing your podcast, and it actually translates
Top
to
10,
downloads.
really, that's top 5.
Yeah.
That is the big deal.
That's all.
Seeing the top 10 and also what's hot now and those.
Yeah.
It gives people like
big
another
banners.
option to like look at
Yeah.
your shit. Like, oh, maybe I'll check it out.
I think they mean well with their idea.
Yeah.
It just seems disingenuous when you find out that someone's number 1. They haven't even released a fucking podcast yet. It
Yeah.
seems like you guys might have a flaw in your
And
system.
they're like, are you saying that podcast sucks? I'm like, no, there is no podcast to analyze.
But if they just ranked on downloads, it would be literally the same list every week, week after week after week. Because if you have
It pretty much is anyway.
a million subscribers, I guess that's true.
yeah, but it's not. Like when something comes along like cereal, all of a sudden that's number 1.
That jumped
Like,
up?
Yes, and
Oh,
number
yeah.
1 with overall downloads as well. That's not
Yeah.
a deceptive number 1. That's a real number 1. Like that show, what's that? That was an NPR show, right? They put it together, and they do Radio Lab, right? Like they
This
have a
is
lot of
American Life
shows. They have
production.
quite a few. This is American Life. They have quite a few different shows, so they know what the fuck they're doing. They put together a banging new podcast. Everybody went nuts for it, and it got millions of downloads. Like the idea that the market is closed and like, oh, if you're not on Corolla's show or the Nerdist, like that's ridiculous.
Right.
You can come along with a new podcast right now, this very moment, and if it's good and you stick with it, it'll build and it'll get word of mouth, and before you know it, you'll have a presence online. There's nothing stopping you.
But it is tough to do that without a built-in audience
It's
already.
always tough.
Like I don't know anybody who's just podcasting
What are you
and
talking
making
about?
a living.
Oh, you're crazy.
Who's just podcasting?
What are you talking about?
Like I'm saying, like you guys have comedy.
How about out of Corolla? I mean, he does a bunch of
But-
other shit as well because
Right,
he
that's what I
wants
mean.
to.
He's
But
got his
no,
own-
no,
Wait,
no,
wait,
no, but that's not.
who's making a living just podcasting,
Yeah.
not doing
But it's not. But that's disingenuous. Like it's not like he doesn't make a living. Like if
But
he,
he makes
just
it-
took his podcast money, he'd make plenty of money to live.
But that's
he
because
just
he
tries
had-
to optimize all his money.
He had TV before, like
Well, he
people
had radio.
knew.
Right,
and he had
So
radio
like,
before.
if for me, if you're saying like take my comedy out of it, would just what I make off podcasts be enough for a living? And it wouldn't quite.
right.
Well, how about
But
like
it paid my rent last year.
But I mean, like a kid, let's say a kid gets out of college today, and he's like, I want to get into broadcasting. And obviously, broadcasting is dying in front of me.
Oh,
so I
here's
wanna
one.
get into
Here's one who's
podcasting.
making a living. Dan Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but Dan Savage had a name as a writer and as one of those weirdo
Like, is it possible to do it without some kind of a name?
gay sex dudes.
Let me think about that.
Yeah, you. It's
I didn't
it's
have a
totally
name when I
possible.
started.
Ari didn't have a name. He got a name from a podcast.
I
that had
got
a
my
name.
Comedy Central stuff from podcasting.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they don't even look at me. Otherwise,
Tom
There's
Segura
no
and
draw.
Christina Pazitsky as well. Same thing. Their podcast does great numbers. They sell out everywhere they go on the road now.
But that's
they
what
do
he's
their
saying. It's
live
adding
show.
the road.
Adding the road.
But
Yeah,
a lot of people,
they make money from their podcast.
And they got
as
the
well.
rub from you, too.
Keith and the Girls
Yeah,
podcast. They
that's
make money off that.
Keith and the Girl.
Keith and the Girl make a legitimate living off their podcast.
Weren't they a radio show before that though?
But a long time ago.
yeah?
Theirs is like the oldest podcast
They've been
around.
podcast for like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they like got in way before the first wave.
They do it every day, and they've been going for like 10 years.
Every day?
Yeah, they do a podcast
5
every
days a
day.
week. They treat it like a real job. I mean, they treat
Like a
it like
radio
a real
show.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they sell T-shirts and they
How
you
are they
know,
ranked on iTunes?
I don't see them up there,
Yeah, it's not like
but they're making a living.
they are. Yeah, they're making a living, but it's not like. Yeah, I mean, the people whose names that you see on iTunes are people whose names that you know. from something else.
The Nerdist. What did people know him from before that?
Chris Hardwick's had a career
Hardwick
for a
was
long
on
time.
G4
Right.
and Attack of the Show.
Now, I mean, people are taking their names and doing something different with it and creating this podcast audience, for sure.
Yeah.
But the base that they start with.
I'm trying to think of someone who became famous not from someone who was famous who had a podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good point.
I think podcasting's so new that
Let me see
you
the
almost had
rankings.
to do something
Show me
before.
the rankings. Right, where it's like, what do you mean? How could you just start in this?
Right.
You had to be
No, that's a
22.
good point.
Unless you're like a kid or something.
Right.
The baby podcast.
What's interesting though is that the people that do have podcasts that had a name earlier, like Adam Carolla or whoever, those guys do give jump starts to people's careers in podcasting. That's like one of the best ways for your podcast to be known.
Absolutely.
Is to go on a known person's podcast. It's like one of the best
absolutely.
ways.
Promote yourself.
It's one of the best ways.
That's what I tell everybody.
Which, I mean, but that's the way it's been done forever. That's like the new Tonight. Like a comedian used to go on the Tonight Show, and then all of a sudden they're established. Now somebody can go on, a big podcast and impress people, and now they can translate that into their own podcast.
What is this rankings you're pulling up?
Overall rankings.
On what? Is it iTunes?
iTunes charts from yesterday.
What's the website?
iTunescharts.net.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that existed.
You know, I
Well, you're not
never.
talking
have
to
it
a
by
web genius.
genre?
in your house.
Did they have it by genre?
Yeah. I'll go to comedy.
You know, I've never seen my podcast on any of these lists, and I know that we have really good numbers and a lot of comments. It's Kill Tony, but I never see it on the list because it's under the Death Squad
yeah.
umbrella. So only Death Squad's ever on the list, and at deathsquad.tv and Death Squad and Kill Tony. So that's all I wanted to say a bunch of times.
Trying to say Kill Tony. Kill Tony Death Squad's what you want to say?
Yeah, over and over again.
Pretend there's a point snuck into the plugs.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The cool
Yeah, that
thing
is
is
a
there's
little bit of
so
a
many
problem.
podcasts, and people like hear somebody on your podcast, and they'll be like, "Oh, that was interesting," and then they'll like listen to one of their episodes. Let's
Right.
say Segura's on your podcast, and then they're like, "Oh, that guy's good." They'll listen to one of his podcasts and be like, "Cool, I love this," and then they'll listen to all of them. They'll just catch up.
Yeah.
and they'll spend
That's- yeah.
8 months catching up, and then they do catch up, and they're like, "Cool, now I'll listen to his every week." But then I need another one, and they'll find, Tony's, and I'll be like, "Cool, let me go back the whole backlog of that."
Right.
And they're just always looking for new ones. There's,
Yep.
there's tons of
That's
hours
true.
in the week.
Well, that's why I like keeping everything free. Like, there's a lot of people that have subscriptions, like VIP memberships, where like everything past the first 50 episodes you have to pay for. Like they have like some thing where the latest 50 episodes you can get, and then you go back before that, and it's all you have to pay for all of them.
You have that?
No.
No, Marin has that. I think to get the last 10, and then before that you got to pay.
Yeah, see, I just feel like that whatever you would spend in advertising to get those people who would download it for free, to get more and like to get that build up, you would pay way more than you're going to get paid from those memberships.
With live sales, it changed the game completely. But you're right about the no living. But it's getting closer now.
It is.
It really is getting closer. I mean, Duncan said this to me once a long time ago, and he was like, this is one of the reasons I moved to New York. He was like, if I get 100,000 downloads on my podcast, he goes, I would like to equate it to something real, not just like I'll make some money. He goes, I will buy a house.
Yeah.
He goes, that'll be enough money. I can already translate what that means, and it was like, I will buy a house.
And
So it's like, I don't know if he's quite there yet or not, but it's like, oh, we're getting closer to that number.
Yeah.
To where advertisers, and more advertisers are now going, okay, hold on, let me look at this for real.
You got to look in Duncan's case. It's like personal appearances. You got to factor that into it because his personal appearances meaning comedy clubs and comedy clubs where he's doing a live version of his podcast, which is a big one.
Yeah,
That's
that
through
I'll
the
take
roof.
out because anybody could do that.
Sure.
You don't have to be a stand-up to do that. That's
No.
part of your podcast.
No, you're
Is
doing live shows.
The
Kevin
live
Smith does live
podcast.
podcasts. He's not a comic.
Right.
Anybody, no, that's
Anyone who does a
100%.
podcast can also make money on podcasts by live shows.
Yes.
Well, he used to
It's like
do
selling
live
t-shirts.
He used to do live broadcasts or live shows rather before he ever did a podcast.
Kevin Smith?
Spoken word stuff.
He's done a lot of those, and he does a lot of interviewing the audience. Like he'll have,
That Superman talk he gave was great.
he had mics in the audience, and they would wait in line to ask him questions.
Oh, hold on. We were going to get to this girl's thing. We never got to. We teased it.
the
We were cup
Oh
teasing
yeah,
him.
this
ESPN, I think.
This is the chick that freaked out and she got fired for a
Most
week.
of this is going to have to be because they had to put the audio over it. Like they just put the words up.
She
Nobody hear it.
she got her car towed,
Which sucks.
which sucks. She's hot as fuck. Let's see what she has to say.
I'm in the news, sweetheart. I will help you sue this place.
Okay, that's fine, and I'll play your video, so careful. I'll play the video.
So she looks up. See,
I have a degree. I wouldn't work at a place like this. Okay, she's looking for a shit.
Let's
get you out of here quickly.
Let's get you out of here.
I was just taking people's money.
and by the way, pause this for a second. It is tow truck driver. I mean, they just steal cars and then like sell it back to people.
Yeah, let's hear her rant though.
It's like Mexican cops.
No, see, we missed that. It said, what did she say? Something about that's all you care about, just taking people's money.
With no education, no skill set.
With no education, no skill set.
Do you feel good about your job? So I could be a college dropout and do the same thing? Why? Because I have a brain and you don't?
Looks like that.
Why? Because I have a brain and you don't?
Maybe if I was missing some teeth, they would hire me, huh?
You had to touch your roots up a little bit.
Oh, like yours? But they look so stunning. Because I'm on television and you're in a fucking trailer, honey. Lose some weight, baby girl.
Okay.
Whoa.
That whole thing. You heard that whole...
Lose some weight, baby girl.
That whole thing, and they called it a fat-shaming tirade. One thing at the very end, lose some weight, baby girl.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, fat-shaming video.
I got some fat shaming.
It's class-shaming, if anything, and it's just berating somebody who fucking victimized you.
It's also crooked teeth shaming.
Education shaming.
How are they lumping that into... Britt McHenry suspended by ESPN after fat-shaming video services. How is that the headline? Huffington Post. You're intentionally misleading people. You're lying.
Huffington Post, you silly fucks.
You value words, and then you're taking words and intentionally misappropriating the truth.
Lose some weight, honey.
Lose some weight, honey is a fat-shaming tirade.
She's just being a cunt.
Lose some weight, baby girl. Yeah, she's mad. She's taking out people.
It should say Fox News reporter or ESPN News reporter fired for being a cunt.
Yeah. That's saying baby girl. Really? Yeah, talking down to people. That seems shittier part. That was the embarrassing part. Not lose some weight. Not even like... You should be disgusted with yourself. Just lose some weight, baby girl.
The girl who works there, too, like, do you really think that that gal who works there is the one who's collecting the money? She's just got a job.
Right.
You know, you might not be happy that that's where she works, but that's just someone who works there. The people who own the joint.
Sure,
yeah.
say, don't be mean to poor people. Sure, that's okay. But don't call it a fat-shaming video.
Oh, yeah. No, it's... the girl, I mean, whoever works there, it's not their fault.
Right, it's not like she's some tow truck pimp that just sends the tow trucks out.
And she might be. We might be wrong, but
just sitting there
in on it.
But I didn't see anything that she did that should get her fired.
Well, no, suspended for a week, not quite fired. But even that,
like,
right? There's no
why?
like she didn't drop a bunch of N-bombs.
She was mad.
That's the danger of those like reporter jobs where you're not actually a personality. You're just doing something where you're just on TV to be pretty and likable and read the
you're
news.
a representative
so
of the company.
likable.
The minute you do something that people kind of skew you as a real human being, you're not that sort of likable entity anymore.
Well, she definitely was unlikable.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the way she communicated. It was kind of gross. And it was also dopey. Like, the way she was talking.
Honey.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. That seems like,
it was
ugh, shut
dopey.
up.
If they
I'm on TV, honey. I'm a reporter.
Yeah.
I'm on the news, honey. Sweetheart.
I went to college,
How about
honey.
lose weight, honey.
They should let the
it's like
lady.
demeaning.
They should let the lady at the tow truck driver place do her job for a week and just like report
See
on
if
the
she kills
sports
it.
and stuff. Be all fat and ugly.
She probably knows way more about sports too, actual sports.
Yeah. Welcome to ESPN. Marshawn Lynch was like a big tow truck today.
But it's also like she's sitting there going like her job is this impossible feat that you have to go to college for to read sports news.
Yeah, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't drive a tow truck. I read sports news off a
Fucking talking
teleprompter.
head. Do you think she could, all the paperwork that tow truck lady has to pay attention to?
Right.
All the bullshit and files that she has to look through?
She seems
deal with
douchey
shitty
for sure.
people.
It just ain't a fat-shaming tirade.
No, it's not.
I felt like it was.
How would they even put that after watching that video? How would they put that as the
Because they're
headline?
assholes. It's fake outrage.
Right.
I mean, but now
Artificial
you're intentionally
outrage.
trying to get people like, how dare you?
It's
You know, these people have
manufactured.
lost weight. Why would you do this? And you're like,
Dude, these websites are in the business of getting people to click on the links. That's it. Just like when you were talking shit about Howard Stern on my podcast, you were in the business of getting Howard Stern to talk shit back about you, and it made you way more famous. Admit it.
Make me more famous
Admit it,
at all.
you fuck.
You trolled your way into fame.
I just got a bunch of comics.
So what? You had a Comedy Central show already at the time. So what if you had a billboard on Sunset Boulevard? So what?
This
if
is what threw you over the top. Oh my God.
Now people know your name.
Now they know you.
Yeah. David Arquette brought it up to him.
They know that you do stand-up in front of your podcast. You just do it on your podcast. That's how you do your stand-up. That's what he said.
Podcast, so I don't have to go to clubs.
Yeah, you don't go to the club. Meanwhile, he did 5 sets last night. He did sets all over fucking city.
Talking about don't go to clubs.
David Arquette brought it up. What did he say?
He got married or something. He's like, "Oh, didn't you come to my wedding?" He's like, "I don't know, man. I couldn't make it." That's just secondhand. And he goes, "Yeah, it's like, it's first Artie's making fun of you." And he's like, "Who?" He goes, "That guy Artie Shafir." He goes, "Oh, yeah." I think people told him later, like, "Dude, you really did sound like an idiot."
Oh, they had to.
Nobody told him that. Who the fuck is going to tell him that?
If anybody told him that, they don't work here anymore. They're fired.
Believe me, no one's talking to him like that.
He doesn't check his own Twitter, so he
got
can't see
royalty.
actual feedback.
Right.
He used to.
He used to actually check his own Twitter?
Just talk about it, how mean people were on Twitter.
So he got off it.
Maybe
I don't know. You're mean always.
Maybe his rap.
You're mean. That's your whole shtick is to be mean.
Yeah, but nobody could be mean back for a long time. It's a different world.
He's an enemy of free speech. That's what he is.
How dare you? I can't
That's what
believe
he
you're
is.
saying this about an American
Let's go to Sirius, where you can say anything you want, but other people can't say what they want. And I'll see to it.
Yeah, he wants to
Go
own
fuck
it.
yourself. Once you're the enemy of free speech, I have no time for you.
The enemy of free speech. Is this a war? Is there a war going on?
Oh, I see what Ari's doing. He's trying to get another. He's trying to get a couple mentions. He's trying to get some more mentions. Yeah,
I'm riding his coattails.
The numbers are dipping, so he wants to get a couple more mentions.
If you didn't still have coattails, I couldn't ride them, you old man.
Whoa.
Dress in a t-shirt.
What are you saying? This is outrageous.
Yeah, this is getting a little carried away.
It is. I feel uncomfortable with this whole show now.
We're going to a negative place.
Let's take a call. You're right.
All right, let's go to.
Let's call it in. Anybody?
Let's go to Rich in New York.
Baba Booey.
Rich in New York.
What's up, Rich?
I just wanted to add real quick about you were talking about people making money off podcasting that didn't do anything before. There's a guy named Dan Carlin that was on Joe's show a couple times, and he has an awesome podcast. And I don't think he does anything else besides that.
Yeah, he did, though. He had a background in radio. He did radio before that.
Yeah.
But it's like
he went into
podcasting's so new
podcast
that-
from radio, but yeah.
But he really wasn't famous, though. I mean, I didn't know who the hell he was.
Right. Yeah, he's another example, though, of what we said, where someone became famous in podcasting because they went on a podcast of someone who's famous. And that's one good thing about podcasts is we all promote each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big part of podcasting that didn't exist in radio, because in radio, everybody was competing over slots. You know, there could only be one morning guy on 97.5 FM. There could only, so everybody wanted to be the number one guy in the city. So there's everybody's on the same time from 6 to 10. You're fighting over ears. We don't have that, because you could just download your podcast or my podcast anytime they want.
Yeah.
Is everybody like that, though? Or is that just your philosophy?
I haven't seen anybody. All comics seem to have that,
because they can get somebody on their podcast. Like if I get you on my podcast,
right?
That means I'll get some of your listeners,
right?
But also you'll get some of my listeners,
100%.
And we're all both okay with that.
Right.
And we'll also put out a good interview, and then
you'll come on my show in the reverse and blah blah blah.
And it's fun.
I can retort Bobby Lee's.
It's fun to do each other's. What did Bobby Lee allege? He came on Sam's podcast. He alleged some falsities
on my show.
Did he do it, Sarah Silverman? That
fuck. He came out on my show here and said, and he told a story about Ari kicking the shit out of him time after time after time. And then Ari came on and told his side of the story, and then a couple months after that, Natasha came on and told her side of the story.
That's great. Yeah, I woke up one day and I got all these. Whenever I wake up, sometimes I just get a bunch of tweets, and usually it's the Mexicans who find me again.
The Mexicans who find me again.
Yeah,
I've been hiding from the Mexicans for all these months.
The Spanish radio DJ will be play my Amazing Racist thing, and they'll be like, "Fuck you." Anyway, I woke up to all these tweets "You're an asshole to Bobby Lee." I'm like, where did that come from? Where's all of a sudden now? And it was Sam.
Yeah, because Bobby had come on, because he just kind of offhandedly said that Ari used to kick the shit out of him every week. And I was like, what?
Yeah, Rogan had to call me. I was playing cards at the Commerce Casino, and you're like, all right, I think it's hilarious that you keep beating up Bobby, but listen, this is going to get in the way of your career. You have to eventually stop beating him up.
Yeah, you couldn't just beat him up every time you saw him.
I was like, but why, man? Why? So far, so good.
It's only funny because you weren't inflicting any real damage. It was like two spastics flailing limbs at each other. There was nothing was really going down.
A hard slap.
It's true. Of all the stories that I've heard, like I've never seen a picture where there was a mark left or anything like that.
Well, it's that Bobby was telling these like dramatic stories of like he said there were thumbnail imprints that drew blood in his neck from where Ari was choking
My thumb a little bit went into his neck. It was a little blood. It wasn't like gushing.
Imagine you said it to a judge about your wife. My thumb went a little bit into her neck. It was a little blood, whatever. God, she's a bitch. She's exaggerating.
Good point.
Yeah, well, it was not long after that you started taking jiu-jitsu. So lucky you attacked him before you developed martial arts skills.
And
you were taking jiu-jitsu before you beat him up?
Yeah, and Kevin Christie had to tell me, he's like, you can go to jail for killing someone with a lethal weapon. And I was like, white belt is not a lethal weapon. That's just what you get when you start training.
Why did I have it in my head that it was all before?
Nah. Maybe I trained during it.
I feel like I really do feel like it was before. I really feel like you beat him up long before you ever started taking jiu-jitsu. Because what year did you beat him up?
Man, I don't know anymore.
I want to say, what year did you start working at the store?
99.
99. I want to say you beat him up around 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
And you did jiu-jitsu, I want to say 2005 or 6.
We don't know any of that anymore.
It's hard. It's sketchy.
I know I was doing it I might have taken it during the beating ups, in between some of them.
You were doing it when we were at Legends. You were
ups.
taking jiu-jitsu when we were at Legends, the second location.
No, I took the first location. I took it Bomb Squad. I started at Bomb Squad.
You did.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. That's 2003.
Bomb Squad. How do you even remember that name?
Did Bobby ever
2003.
Did Bobby ever put up a good fight?
No, that was the least rewarding thing about it. Okay, I'm worked up. I'm angry. I'm like, don't talk to me again. I'll fucking just don't talk to me forever. We're done. He came like, can I tell you one thing? Can I just tell you one thing? You know how he does. And it's like, and I just like, let's do, and it's just punch and then down like a fucking potato bug. And I'm like, come on, man, fight back.
Yeah.
But did you feel bad about hitting a tiny person?
No, you'd think I would, right? I only felt goodness out of it. And all these people came up to me and was like, wow, thank you, man.
Thank you?
I mean,
All
Bobby
these
pissed
people?
off a lot of people.
Hey, listen, he's a little irritable, but he doesn't deserve to be pounded into submission.
At this point, I feel like you might get Bobby a gift. Do you have any ideas as to like what kind of...
It's like a Levi's gift card or some shit.
Well, I know there's an announcement you guys have all been waiting for.
What?
From Steven Singer Jewelers is here. The brand new rose color for Mother's Day 2015 is pink champagne.
Is that right?
Are you really doing a live read?
Give her a rose.
Who rose?
Your mother.
Bobby Lee.
It's
My
a
mom
perfect
fucking
symbol
hates
of love and
flowers.
celebration.
My mom likes cactuses and shit.
What?
Joe, your mom doesn't understand. This is the perfect gift at the perfect price for all the moms in your life, Joe.
The perfect gift at a perfect price.
That's right.
What's the price?
Can you imagine?
$50?
Steven Singer.
What's the perfect price?
It was 24 karat dipped roses.
How much?
Are a great difference. Starting at just $59.
Wait a minute. What are you going to do with that rose?
It lasts forever,
24 karat gold dipped
Real
roses.
rose?
It's a real rose, but it's dipped in 24 karat pure
This
gold.
real long stem rose is lavishly and deeply dipped in 24 karat pure gold.
Did you know that gold, you could take a little tiny piece of gold and cover this entire table? It's one of the weirdest metals ever.
You could also cover a rose.
How far you could get the gold to stretch? It's very strange.
Yeah, you should see it over a rose.
Why
Now,
worry about
how
Mother's
much
Day already?
actual gold did they put in this fucking shitty rose?
Tons of it.
I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, Steven Singer sells out of this gift every year.
True.
So he wants to make sure that you guys get the first shot at ordering his brand new color, pink champagne.
Maybe you should buy one for Bobby.
This is why we'll never have a show on actual Sirius.
It is beautiful.
They'll play our podcast on Sirius, but we'll never get an actual show.
Because of this.
These live
You couldn't
reads.
do the reads.
I couldn't sell people this fucking rose.
Well, it's a good thing we can't sell it because limited quantities. So they're available now. Order yours. Guys, if you're worried about how it's going to be, Steven makes it so easy. Just go online to IHateStevenSinger.com.
Right.
And reserve yours. When? Today.
Oh, how do I do this?
It's the perfect gift at a perfect price. One place, one price. Steven Singer Jewelers. On the phone even.
What?
888 I hate Steven Singer. There's no way. Come on, Singer.
What?
That's fucking 35 letters. 1-888 I hate Steven Singer.
That's the number.
You just got to keep pressing even after it's done.
I hate That's what you need.
Just an operator saying hello.
1-888 I hate
No, you could have a lot more numbers now. They allow you to have more numbers. Ever since the Patriot Act 2 passed,
then you're allowed?
You're allowed more numbers for freedom.
Well, if you don't like the fact that he spells it out, go online to IHateStevenSinger.com for your champagne rose. Oh, man, these reads are long, bro.
60 seconds.
That shit Howard's talking about. No, he's right. I can't do that.
Right, if you got into a small market, you would have figured out how to do a live read.
You could do it.
You would have to be like, okay, everybody leave the room for a second.
No, you just got to go into that robot voice.
Yeah, that robot voice. I hear, like, certain people being able to do it. It's like, oh, how do you're a different guy
if
now.
You're a professional journalist guy.
Then that's what we've all been waiting for from Steven Singer Jewelers.
From the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. You today could go.
Give it a shot.
You're going to give him another read?
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sell you a fucking shitty rose. I'm not going to do it. That's the other good thing about podcasts. You could choose who's your
Look how beautiful that rose is.
Did you like it? For real?
Great.
What color would you say that is?
That's pink champagne, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They paint it pink after they cover it in gold or some shit.
It seems like a waste of a rose and gold at the same time. Like, it seems like you ruined a beautiful rose, which is a beautiful thing, only lasts so long.
Tony, read the copy.
It's
supposed to be selling these things.
Ixnay on the...
Hey, Mother's Day's coming right around the corner.
When is Mother's Day? That seemed like it was just last year. Nope,
It's always Mother's Day at Steven Singer.
Last year. Oh, it's every year, Ari.
What?
They get their own day every year. Well, your mom, if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't even be alive. So, how about
for Air, it wouldn't be alive either. We don't have an Air Day.
You should have an Air Day and give Air a rose.
You're right.
Golden rose. Buy a golden rose from I hate Steven Singer and give it to the air.
I hate StevenSinger.com.
Give it to the water. Give it to Mother Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, these have to be $1,000.
So no, it's a perfect gift for the perfect price.
That's right. It starts at just $59.
Starts at $59.
Amazing. How much how much gold could actually be in there?
Like
$5.
A ton.
And a rose?
I wonder if they have gold bees coming and pollinating it.
I hope not.
Do you know that in China they run into some environmental crises where they weren't getting any bees anymore?
Really?
In certain spots, yeah, due to pesticides or pollution or who knows what the fuck it was.
It was so polluted.
People weren't pollinating, or the bees weren't pollinating these plants, so their crops were getting wiped out. So their solution to that was to hire people and pay them to go around with paintbrushes and literally dab the pollen onto
really?
Yeah. And when they did that, they thought, well, we'll see if it works as good. It worked better.
Really?
Way better than bees.
Of course
Because bees
did.
are pretty non-specific. Hiring someone to go pollinate these plants, like you just with a brush, a painter's brush, is way more effective.
There's no way in 2015 we don't have the technology to pollinate plants better than bees do.
Just take an airplane over it and just like fucking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We don't
Did
need
you see the artificial bees that they created, the drone bees?
That seems like a good idea.
They created drone bees that would do the same work.
Really?
These little tiny robot bees.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't
So
think
your job is just to look up anything people talk about?
Whenever I'm in the studio, yeah.
Whatever they're talking about, you just quickly look it up in
Why
case
is
they
that
were
so
like
confusing?
It's just a great job. I mean, it's confusing. How come that job wasn't around when I graduated college? I applied for such shitty jobs.
Look at that little robot bee. And the idea is that they'll develop a robot drone bee that operates exactly the way a real bee does.
Wow.
But they won't sting people.
They won't sting people.
Won't stun.
That's great.
Won't sting people.
Did you have to, or they'll make it so it does sting people, but it won't die afterwards. It'll be a gross stinger.
What a weird side effect of nature that this little bug is necessary to pollinate plants.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's what a strange role that it has, not just to make honey, not just to reproduce, but also to carry pollen and its fucking stupid beard.
That's what it is?
Yeah, it's
it
like
just rubs
having
itself in there?
Food stuck to your beard, and you go somewhere else, and that food grows.
Do they even know they're doing it, or is it just...
No, they don't know shit. Little assholes or stupid fucking heads. They don't have anything going on there. You know what they have going on there? A million different ways the eyeballs can look all over the place to make sure that nothing swats them. That's 90% of their day.
And if they do get swatted, they're going in on a suicide mission to kill whoever does it.
Well, you know, one of the most disturbing things that I ever watched online, as far as like the ruthlessness of nature, is watching these Japanese hornets kill these honeybees. And the way they do it, they cut their heads off with their clippers. They have like these like the difference in size between them is drastic. And they swarm in, and like something like 30 of these hornets can kill an entire colony. They'll kill millions of bees.
Why do they do that?
Well, they do it because they think bees are cunts. And they just go in there and they kill them and they take their
30
honey.
Japanese giant hornets kill 30,000 honeybees.
That's so badass.
They can kill millions. They're unopposed. The only way the honeybees can kill them is they have to get on top of them, like hundreds and hundreds of them, and fan them, like, and create energy and heat. And when they generate heat, it overwhelms the hornet and kills them.
So they just go in.
There they are.
Look how much bigger they are.
They're so much bigger. So they fly in, they grab them, and they just cut them in half. Like all they do over and see, they cut their head off. All they do over, it's hard to see it.
And they're bringing him back in. Like one's dead, they're bringing him back in like Marines.
Wow.
They're taking his body back in.
That'd be like if a monster human being just came and started crushing you.
This is
it's
amazing
like some
footage.
Game of Thrones shit. Like,
Those
look,
hornets have big noses and they're beating up on these tiny little yellow bees. I feel like I'm watching Ari and Bobby Lee all over again.
I knew he was setting up a bit.
Boom.
You knew it. You could feel it.
Hey, of all the times you beat up Bobby Lee, at the end of it, when he's on the ground curled up into a ball, did you ever say at the end as you walk away, lose some weight, baby girl?
It would have been like,
sweetheart.
fat shames Bobby Lee. I'm like, no, I beat him up. Don't take this away from me.
These hornets are like giants. They fly in and they're just eating these bees, cutting their heads off.
So like,
look at how they do it, man.
How big are they compared to people?
They're way
A little bigger than people.
Way bigger than people.
They're
dude.
bigger than
Look at the
human
size
beings.
of them. Could you imagine if that was like a horse size?
Why are they attacking the
Mothra.
bees?
Because they want to kill them. They fucking suck, and they make honey.
No,
They're
wait.
mad.
Like, why do the hornets?
That's a good
Because
question.
they can.
Look at the bees are trying to sting back too, and they're like, "Fuck you, you can't." Sting
Oh, yeah,
me,
they're
bitch."
getting a couple of them.
Yeah, well, they're trying, but it's just not good enough. And the hornet can sting them too more than once.
Oh my! They can sting more than once.
Yeah, bees, honeybees are unusual in the fact they sting you and they die. But the
I
female
heard that was
honeybee
not
doesn't.
true. That was like they just die at the end of the day anyway.
No. They die when their needle.
Oh, God, that's
their stinger
brutal. I
gets
feel
pulled
like
out of their
bad
body.
for them.
Parts of their abdomen comes out with the with the stinger. But what's interesting is the female, the queen, she can sting as much as she wants.
A honeybee queen.
Yeah. They can sting as much as they want because the female, look at all the dead honeybees. That's insane.
Wow.
They're just pulling them out and cutting them. There's a pile of them. The female uses her stinger to kill baby females. That's what her stinger's for. She goes where the babies are in the cocoon.
Why doesn't she want baby females around?
The honeycomb. She doesn't want a successor. She doesn't want anybody to come along and take her spot.
Cold-hearted.
So she sniffs out where the females are and just stabs them while they're in the honeycomb.
Really?
With that cunty stinger of hers.
Wow.
That big
So she can be the
sword
queen
growing out of
forever?
her pussy. Yeah, she takes that pussy sword and just stabs babies with it.
Has your mom tried to sting you to death lately?
Hey, you sting the stinger,
24 karat gold dip roses.
That's StevenSinger.com.
But that's what nature intended because that's why she has a stinger that can be used over and over
well, that's
again.
why she wants to sting the babies too. It's competition, and when she can no longer defend her position, that's when she's
Someone
not the
takes it
strongest
over.
female anymore. That's when a new female
Like
will
Game of
emerge.
Thrones.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, like when you look at the ruthlessness of nature, it is pretty fascinating. Like these things, these are monsters. They're just little tiny monsters, so we don't think of it that way.
And looking for survivors,
They're
too.
pulling babies out now.
Oh, my God. They're pulling fetuses out.
They're pulling fetuses out and they're chopping their heads off.
God, this is so fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So do you think Howard Stern saw Ari as a female bee that he had sniffed out?
I think you're trying to bring it back to Howard Stern again, you fuck. How dare you? We're here watching bees slaughter babies. Just what a ruthless fucking existence, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So that apparently they're mortal enemies. And
They should do a cartoon
shit
based
just
on
goes
that with
down
all the bees
time.
going, la 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 la, la la la, we are working, making the honey. And make it on that and then have the fucking hornets come in.
Look at the size of these fuckers.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God, the size of a hand.
And where are they from?
Japan.
Oh.
These are these evil Japanese hornets. They're giant, man. The world of bugs. Oof. Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Way more of them than us.
Did you see that video footage that they got of these guys on this underwater exploration and they get visited by a sperm whale? A sperm whale or a blue whale? I don't remember.
Oh,
what
yeah.
it was.
I saw
But
your
it
tweet
just
about it.
happened last night. Or just happened yesterday that got released. It's amazing. These guys are down there and like, what is that? What is that? The Nautilus. Yeah, it's a sperm whale. So they're down there. I don't know how far under the sea. Like
2,000 feet?
Yeah, just about
2,000 feet.
1,900 feet. Yeah.
Just so they're deep as fuck.
1,900. Go
And
fuck
they're Gulf of
yourself.
Mexico.
Yeah, whatever.
Deep
Pussy.
as fuck in the ocean. Scared of that extra 100 feet. They're like, what is that?
You can track him.
Back it up, but like listen to like how they react when they see it.
Back it up.
Yeah. Watch this.
Fantastic. So if you're watching on channel 1, the super sampler is the heck is that?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, what is that?
Guys,
look at
guys,
it.
we have a humpback whale.
We need to
Zoom, you can track him. We can get back here.
All right, let's move the camera.
Zoom out, look around,
We need
rotate.
I'm gonna turn the M3 off, guys.
He's gonna bump you.
No, he's
It's a
bumping
sperm
us.
whale. We have a sperm whale.
Me. It's okay. Zoom out on our.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
It's super deep down there.
Look how big it is.
I hope we are screen grabbing.
Yes, it's
It's just floating over them. That must look insane when you're down there in that water and you see this. I mean, how big are they? It looks like it's 100 feet long at least. More. Oh my God.
Wow.
It's a building. It's a skyscraper.
It's a swimming skyscraper.
A whale.
How big do sperm whales get? Because they're not the biggest, right? The blue whale's the biggest?
Yeah.
Fucker. What a weird animal, huh?
He's just doing laps.
How big?
They're up to 67 feet long.
Jesus.
And weigh
67 feet long.
56 tons on average.
Fat fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, Paul,
On average.
runs the Maui Comedy Festival.
Lose some weight, baby girl.
Tony Hinchcliffe, fat shame sperm whale.
You ever think
Maybe
they
if
get
you ate less sperm.
Yeah, what a terrible name for an
I
animal.
just gay shamed him.
Sperm whale.
See how I did that? I gay shamed the whale.
Gay shame. Fat gay shame.
Maybe you ate less sperm, you wouldn't be so fucking fat.
She didn't even say it like that.
Yeah, more like a semen whale.
Lose
you
some weight, baby girl.
gay whale.
I would fire her just for being a dummy.
It's
I'd
like,
be like,
all right,
look,
yeah.
this is what happens when she doesn't read the script.
Yeah. That's what they should tell them. Like, and look, it doesn't matter what you say. Just don't be caught talking normally outside our studios.
Yeah.
Don't get caught at saying anything on camera. Because you're an idiot.
Right.
What I
So
love is
don't let them know.
She kept bringing up her college degree.
I went to college. Like, so did every sorority idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
Maybe if I didn't have a degree and no teeth, I'd be here in a trailer, honey.
You're in a trailer, honey.
Yeah, people don't like getting towed.
Which,
Nobody
by the
was.
way, what's crazy about what she's saying is that all the time that she spends at ESPN that's not on the field, she spends in a trailer. You're in a trailer. So she's in a trailer too. She has a trailer. She has to go to video trailer for editing and notes and stuff. You go from trailer to trailer in that business.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But she might have a dressing room.
It's actually
it
not
might
true.
be an indoor gig because
they
you're
go
in
to the
Connecticut.
studios down by Staples Center.
Well, this is
whole building.
ESPN.
It's probably in Bristol.
Yeah, they're in Connecticut.
They both Connecticut and LA.
Oh, okay.
And
LA
New York.
too.
Yeah.
But she
They don't
probably at
want
some point in her life has been in a trailer somewhere.
There you go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when she was getting the tow place.
Fucking broads. Am I right, guys?
Fucking broads. Let's take a caller.
Fucking broads.
John from Massapequa. You're on.
Hey, I used to date this cunt, and she would yell too.
Let's go to Corey in Canada. What's up, Corey?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, dude?
Ew.
I was calling about, you guys are talking about in China, they got guys going around with paintbrushes pollinating all the plants because there's no more bees.
Yeah, I remember that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have greenhouses here, and what we would do is there's two ways we would pollinate. Either we would bring in a shit ton of, we would actually buy bees in a box, and they would go around and pollinate these plants, or we had these little, they're almost like little vibrators, and you go around and you vibrate the stem of all these plants, and then all the pollen and shit flies around, and that's how everything got pollinated.
So it gets pollinated just through the wind?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Shaking them up.
And this was 25 years ago we were doing this. So this is people pollinating plants has been around for a while.
Right. So do they pollinate just for productivity, just to increase productivity? The bees are already doing some of the work. Is that what it is?
Well, the thing is, we had greenhouses, right?
So in the greenhouse, you're not getting all these insects and bugs.
Oh, because it's all sealed in.
Right.
Right.
So like I said, we had two ways of doing it. We had the one way was we bring in all these fucking bees, or we go around. It was like a battery pack thing with like a little vibrator on the end.
Right, we got that. It shakes the trees.
Yeah.
They're slow in Canada. They're slower.
Oh, yeah.
Slow. They just slow. They want to make their points.
They're more relaxed.
Even the bees wanted to get out of there away from this guy.
Even when they smoke reefer, Canadians taught me when you smoke reefer, they're like, hold it for a minute, finish your puff a few times, then pass it on. No
you know
rush.
what's the worst? When you're smoking pot with someone and they're telling a fucking story and they're hijacking the joint. They're holding on to the joint while they're telling the story, and you have to listen because while they're talking,
and everyone starts staring at the joint.
Yeah, while they're talking, they're not going to smoke.
It's like,
and you're waiting your turn. It's a sneaky way of captivating you. The dude telling the stories while he's holding on to the joint is an asshole.
Yeah.
That guy's an asshole. You need to pass that. And if you're that dude, don't be that dude. Pass that joint.
And if your story's that bad where you don't have the 2 seconds to hit the joint, then stop telling the story. if you're going to lose everybody by taking a hit of the joint, then your story sucks. And it probably has to do with Canadian vibrating trees.
It's a pacing thing, Tony Hinchcliffe. Here's the thing. Here's the Syria-trained Ohio man plotted attacks. Smash cut to this something big, in quotes. Jihadist explosions. How about some training footage? This is where he was. This is where he lived. He got in a plane from Columbus, flew to the Badlands.
Syria.
Athens, Greece.
Yeah, landed there, did bad shit, went to Turkey, Istanbul.
Yeah, that's what
Look at him, machine gun, running through the desert, gun overhead. Here it is, shooting. I knew it, I called it. Some
other guy shooting.
This is, we were saying, Tony, before you got here, these are not even the same guys that are doing all this shit. This is like talking about a guy who plays basketball, and then, look, the guy just punched a board. He did a karate demonstration. He punched a board. Look, they're doing monkey bars. These are actors. Return to the United States and carry out an act of terrorism. What are you going to do this weekend? Oh, I'm going to return to the United States and carry out an act of
ripped from the
terrorism.
headlines, so they show a piece of paper ripped.
Yes. Yeah, literally. All those quotes. Look, they're all on paper.
Ripped from the headlines.
They're just baby fucking you with information.
Dude, the more I see shit like this, the more I realize, like, they did Sarah Silverman wrong in that thing. Yeah. There's probably no way she said any of that shit they were ascribing to her.
Well, they definitely did it wrong. Definitely did it wrong when they said that she lied.
But the more I looked at that video again, the way it cuts, I bet they just asked her, like, have you ever been paid less than someone else?
Yeah.
And
it
then
could be.
They just threw it into a video about man and women.
That's what they said.
Look at this.
God.
Syria-trained Ohio man plotted attacks. Guns drawn. Look at this. In the air. Guns. Shoot the guns. This guy, he planned gun. Look. They showed that same fucking montage of guys with guns. Totally unrelated guys to him. Like, that is a weird propaganda piece right there. Because that's not just the facts of the case. That's the facts of the case mixed with all this stuff that's designed to get a reaction from you.
Also, when you hear plotted attacks, you're like, plotted instead of planned. Like plotted. That word makes you seem like you're grander than you are. I mean,
plotted is like, man, fuck those dudes.
Exactly. What does that mean? How far did he get?
Yeah.
Plotted. It's like these word choices they're using makes people think a certain way.
It's like the Foxcatcher version of this news story.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
I want to know what he really did. He probably didn't do anything. They try to make these things all big. He probably just
sold some weed on the corner.
Yeah, he walked out of the middle of American Sniper. They're like, you un-American?
So Tony, I got Tony to see it with me. Tony had never seen it. He came to the Sabotage screening we made.
Oh, how was it?
It was so much fun. The movie is the worst movie ever. So
how's that possible? You guys are saying some un-American shit.
No, it's not. America is the leading screen.
That's bullshit.
We make movies. Un-American is to make shitty movies.
Yeah. That fucking movie was nominated for Academy Award and was directed by Clint Eastwood. So you tell me right now, it's got Chris Kyle, Clint Eastwood, and America right there.
All right.
And fucking Oscars.
Do you guys not get what a hero is? Is that the problem?
I can see me and Ari on CNN tonight. Plotted terrorist attack after not liking American Sniper.
We had a screening. We had like 30 random fans and stuff show up, sit randomly throughout the theater, and just when shitty parts come in, everyone just started calling it out.
And it was the most touristy theater too. We went to the Grove, where it's just like nobody that lives lives in LA really goes to the Grove to watch movies. Maybe like 20% of the crowd. But the 80% of people are from like Texas or wherever, just like,
And you
what's
get 10
happening?
minutes in before you get an over-the-top, like, awful line or something.
So for 10 minutes, the movie's playing out, and everybody thinks, wow, we're going to go see American Sniper. They don't realize they're at a performance piece.
Right.
This is like theater.
Right, it really was. And by the way, as the movie went on, we turned them all. Like in the beginning, people are like turning around, all upset looking and stuff. But by the end, you know, Artie was getting like applause breaks.
I would just like to read to you the
great.
critics' consensus of American Sniper. It says, powered by Clint Eastwood's sure-handed direction and gripping central performance from Bradley Cooper, American Sniper delivers a tense, wild tribute to its real-life subject.
The guy who was on the phone with his wife instead of being in battle for every fucking scene.
Wants to check in, make sure everything's cool.
He's a family man, Ari, and a hero.
The whole love story, too. It's like, you guys, you did this in 40 seconds, and you expect me to believe that they're really in love. I'm just not buying it. You didn't set it up good.
So, did you feel bad at all for the people that had actually paid to go see a movie that you were disrupting? Did you want to offer them to buy their tickets?
Somebody said that, but half those people are going to hate it anyway, and the other half...
Half?
Yeah, half.
Is it really that high?
Oh, it's bad.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes?
And it was like Academy Award nominee, and then Tony goes, "No, is that for real?"
I couldn't believe it. That was the funniest thing that Ari kept saying. He'd wait until like there was a terrible line and a terrible moment. And I mean, there was a lot of them.
Like this. Oh, I'll get back to you when they're all like fucking around. All the Marines are fucking around, or the SEALs, and the guys, give it up for legend Chris Kyle. He blew away 100. No. He blew 100 men, and then he's like, ha ha, and he throws some food at him. He throws like a little food fight, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah, just
what is this scene?
Blew 100 men, really? That's the play on words?
It was just like, what is this?
And he would
show them all like friendly, but it's just bad.
And Ari would wait for there to be this terrible line that's bad acting, bad writing, bad directing, and then it would happen, and Ari would just go, nominated for Best Picture. And then the whole theater would start laughing. Best Picture. Still can't believe it. Best Picture.
Clint Eastwood.
This says 86% of users liked it.
Clint Eastwood would get that line out and go, we got it. We got it in the can.
No, they gave it over 6 stars.
I like how you said this guy blew 100 dudes.
Yeah, it was just like
it was bad. It was a whole nother level of
and then
bad.
once the fake baby came on screen, everybody started yelling, "Fake baby! Fake baby!
Oh, yeah.
Fake baby!" He's moving the baby's arm with his thumb. You can see him like,
there's a fake baby, Joe.
Yeah,
every baby's fake. Even the Arab babies are fake.
Well, I'm torn here because I don't like to be lied to, but I don't like babies to have to work. So I'm a big fan of fake babies in movies. I'll tell you that.
Show it.
Yeah, there's a little thing called suspension of disbelief, Ari Shafir, and we have that in America, and it's one of our freedoms.
Yeah.
One of the freedoms we
That's
enjoy.
what George Washington fought for suspension of disbelief in movies.
In other countries, Ari, they can't even draw
86%.
Muhammad. Okay?
73% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's 73% gave it over 6 out of 10. So if you gave it a 6.5 out of 10, that's a positive.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
really
65% though. That's passing.
The average rating is 6.9 out of 10.
I talked to quite a few people,
D+.
including Tom Segura, that really enjoyed that movie.
Here's the deal: if you let yourself get lost in it, you can enjoy it. But if you stop and see the moments that throw you out of it, then it's like, how can you enjoy this? And there's so many of those moments.
But you don't let yourself enjoy things. That's
of course
the problem,
I do.
Yeah,
I loved Whiplash. I just saw it again yesterday.
Yep. I watched Birdman again yesterday on the plane. Whiplash,
solid
Birdman.
movie making.
Yep.
Those are good.
It's a movie about some shit that I would be bored by. Jazz music, fuck that movie. But it was great.
I was listening to Howard Stern.
He talked about the newspaper he was reading yesterday.
He was saying that Birdman was a terrible movie.
Stern said that?
Yes, he did.
I didn't understand
it.
And they used the Black Keys, and they're terrible. He didn't get the Black Keys.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not.
That is true.
I'm hearing that from you. I'm not hearing it from him, so I have no comment.
Stern doesn't like Birdman or Ari Shafir.
Does he really not like Birdman, or are you making that up?
He doesn't like Birdman.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
It's different than a regular movie.
Isn't it possible that different people have different points of view? Jesus fucking Christ, Ari.
Yeah,
Man,
absolutely.
How about the
possible.
music that you listen to? Do we have the same taste in music?
No, but here's the deal.
You don't listen to Toby Keith?
I don't mind
Should've
a
been a
Toby
cowboy?
Keith. I don't mind that existing. That's not my taste, but
You
it's
don't
like, it's
mind?
okay. There's comics that I don't like, but it's like, but they're valid comics. They're getting laughs.
Who
So
do you
it's
think's
okay.
like give me like an all-time favorite, not your number one all-time favorite. What's an all-time favorite?
What, musician?
Yeah.
Nirvana.
Okay.
Good call.
Undeniable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people would deny it.
They're
but it's not
assholes.
like saying like they're lame. It's just like
look what they're doing again. They have a bunch of people on their knees. They had the ISIS guys behind them with knives.
Christians wearing orange to church to raise awareness of
for ISIS victims. Jesus Christ. Oh Christ! Sorry.
ISIS victims.
So, well, give me another one. Like, give me one that I'll disagree with
Look,
hardly.
okay, here's the deal.
Strongly.
You can like there's two Lady Gaga and Kesha. They're two pretty much the same genre of music, but one is more thought out than the other. One's just a better version of that garbage type of music. It's
Right.
okay. But to say that I don't get the Black Keys, not like I don't like them, but it's like I don't even see what it is. They're critically acclaimed and people love them. To be like, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, man, you've lost touch.
But I'm trying to find what you do, what you like that I don't like, that I don't get. I'm sure it
Okay, here's the
exists.
deal. The movie Up. You weren't a fan of that. Or you didn't go-
Well, I liked Up. I thought the animation was really cool, but it's super depressing. Seeing that
It
old
was super
man
depressing. The
laying
first 10
around
minutes
after his
made you
wife.
cry.
Look, they're on their knees. Oh, Jesus, ISIS is behind him with knives. Actors reenactment, god damn it. Yeah, I didn't mind Up. I just thought it was kind of depressing. This old dude was like attaching balloons to his house to fly away because his wife is dead.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa.
I'm not a fan of horror movies, but I don't mind the people that are a fan of horror movies. But if they're well done horror movies,
there's not that many though. That's the problem.
I don't even mind like the just action movies. The action in American Sniper wasn't even bad. It was just all the dialogue was just so shittily written.
I need to watch it just so I could find out
Green Hornet.
whose side I'm on. If I'm on Team Segura,
Not Green Hornet.
or
Green
Team
Lantern
Shafir.
was like a terrible movie. It was done in like a weekend.
Yeah, it was bad.
You know how you'll get a movie like, okay, here's a good example. Deep Impact and what was the other movie at the same time?
Armageddon.
An Armageddon. One, they rushed out because the studio was like, oh, they're doing a movie about an asteroid. We got to do our own. And instead of taking 2 years of planning, they go quick. And they make it in 4 months. And it's just not as good. The relationships aren't as developed. You know, you just don't care as much. Dances with Wolves was an amazing movie. And you really, when they're all talking and they're laughing around the campfire, all the Indians, they make a joke, I would laugh.
Right.
Because you're so engrossed in it.
But you're talking about Clint Eastwood, who's the same guy who did that speech where he sat the fake Obama down
It's
and
an old
ad-libbed
Clint
the
Eastwood.
conversation to him. I mean, he's old.
He's old and
as
past it.
fuck.
He's out of touch, just like Stern. That's why they like each other's stuff.
God.
That's why I think they should go to their old man camps and suck each other's dicks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Suck the wrinkle out of them.
I can't believe Stern doesn't like Birdman or Ari Shafir. It's like he wants to be the only famous guy with a beak.
This is what I like to do.
People were like,
when
you
I
would really
want-
get along with him. I was like, I would get along with the 15 years ago version of him.
If I
Probably.
want to move along, I do this. Start stacking my notes. Well,
That's a
all
real-
right. I don't think we need to go into that anymore.
It's a real broadcasting thing.
15 years ago, maybe he wouldn't have wanted had anything to do with you 15 years ago.
Unforgiven was amazing.
New York Times report. That's a reading.
That is like a broadcast, like
Yes, do it well.
TV news thing going. Well, let's steer clear of that. It's our jobs in jeopardy. And let's talk about in the news tab. Poppy was found on the Long Island Expressway.
Here we go. Anyway,
that's what you get after like the weatherman goes on a diatribe, like "fuck this, fuck Jews, they're fucking taking off." Anyway,
yeah, the tapping of the paper it's like a universal sign for moving on.
No catcall zone signs pop up in New York.